Today we are discussing 5.7, multiplying fractions. So we are skipping 5.6, which is all about estimating products of fractions. I thought we didn't really need to go over how to estimate them. I think it's just as simple just to go through multiplying fractions. And there was really just one step to multiplying fractions, and that is to multiply the numerators and multiply the denominators. We just multiply straight across. So the two top numbers get multiplied and the two bottom numbers get multiplied. And that's it. It's going to be a really simple thing. All of them are going to be exactly the same. There are some ways to kind of simplify it and to kind of rearrange it or do whatever, but we'll go through some of those examples. But for the most part, it is all just going to be multiplying straight across the top and straight across the bottom. So let's go ahead and jump into some examples here. We have 1/4 times 1/3. Again, 1 times 1 gives me 1, and 3 times 4 gives me 12. And that's your answer. It's as simple as that. 1 times 1, 3 times 4. Just multiplying straight across. So over for part B, 1 times 3 is 3. 2 times 5 is 10. So go ahead and take a moment, see if you can figure out what 2/3 times 5/6 is going to be. Did you get it? We're going to multiply straight across, so we get 2 times 5 gives us 10. 3 times 6 gives us 18. We have to simplify. There's still the simplification process. Divide them both by 2, and we get 5/9. So sometimes you will have to simplify it. Again, always wanting to write fractions in simplest form. Now sometimes we'll be given whole numbers where we don't have a fraction. So you might ask yourself, well, how do I multiply straight across if I only have one number? What we do is we're going to force this whole number to be a fraction. All whole numbers are fractions, so 3/5 will stay the same, times, all we do is put a 1 in the denominator. That's it. So it's still 4 over 1 is 4, and then we can multiply straight across. So 3 times 4 is 12. 5 times 1 is 5. You can leave it like this, or you could change that to 2 2/5. Either of those would be the same thing, and they're both correct. So 12/5 or 2 2/5. So again, force that whole number to be a fraction. We'd have 3/4 times 5 over 1. It's always a 1 whenever you're creating a whole number into a fraction. So 3 times 5 is 15. Over 4 times 1 is 4, which could then reduce to be 3 3/4. Doesn't matter if the fraction or if the whole number comes first, we still change it. So it's still going to be 3 over 1 times 1/2. So 3 times 1 is 3. 1 times 2 is 2. 3/2, or 1 1/2. So I'm not sure if you guys have done this before or not, but if you have, this should be review. If you haven't, hopefully this is easy enough to catch on to. So again, we're just multiplying straight across. For the first one, 3 times 4, 5 times 1, so on and so forth. The only difference here is that sometimes we can simplify the fraction before we do our multiplication. And so this is not a necessity. This isn't something you have to do. It just avoids having to simplify at the end of the problem instead of the beginning. So, what you want to look for are numbers on the top and numbers on the bottom that can be reduced. You cannot go straight across. So we can't reduce the 4 and the 6, but I can reduce the 3 and the 6. We call this cross simplification. I can divide 3 by 3 and get 1. I can divide 6 by 3 and get 2. And now those are the numbers I'll multiply. So 1 times 5 is 5, and 4 times 2 is 8. And I don't have to simplify, because I already simplified my numbers. Now, if I would have multiplied 3/4 and 5/6, let me show you that I get the same answer. 3/4 times 5/6. 3 times 5 is 15. 4 times 6 is 24. I can divide these both by 3, and I get 5/8, which is the same thing we had there. So you're getting the same thing both ways. It's just instead of simplifying here, we're simplifying beforehand. So same thing here. The 4 and the 4, again, it can't be across this way. It has to be top to bottom either way. So divide 3 by 3 and we get 1. Divide 9 by 3 and we get 3. Divide 4 by 4 and we get 1. 4 by 4 and we get 1. Now I have 1 times 1 is 1, and 1 times 3 is 3. And our answer is 1/3. Now here's that whole number, put it over 1. So we have 3/5 times 10 over 1. I can still cross-reduce. 10 and 5 can be reduced. Changes to a 1, changes to a 2. 3 times 2 is 6. 1 times 1 is 1. If you end up with a number and answer that's over 1, you can get rid of that and say that's just going to be 6. You don't have to keep it as a fraction. You can get rid of the 1 and just say it's 6, because anything over 1 is itself. And that's multiplying fractions. It is as easy as that. So this is going to be another big review of your multiplication facts and your division facts, because you want to make sure you can cross-reduce if necessary and simplify. So your homework, 284 and 285, 9 through 28. And again, that is things that you'll be working on tomorrow in class. While we meet together during our 4th period, and then we'll check that at the end. So make sure you have these notes in class tomorrow, and I will see you then.